Doo-doo-dee. It's Nandi!
Hello friends, today I'm sharing with you the newest Adeptus Mechanicus character, Actus Folgorosus. It's a mouthful of a name, so I'll just refer to him by Actus for this video. He is releasing my 2-week hero release event that starts on December 3rd, and you'll earn currency by playing the game and completing missions in order to unlock him at progressively higher rarity. In this video, I'll take you through the character kit, show you some gameplay footage, and then end with my customary infographic and some insights into where the character will be best used. There are some pretty cool interactions with this character, and I'm showing them off in the gameplay section, so make sure to stay till the end. First up, we can take a look at Actus Folgorosus on the character screen. You can see a fantastic character model. He's got his fingers together in some sort of sinister calculating manner, and yeah, it looks pretty cool. Shoots his gun from his right hand and just has an aura of just being generally menacing. His traits, he's got Mechanic, which lets him repair mechanical units, or rather heal mechanical units, the mechanical trait himself, as well as the flying trait. His stats here are seen on screen at Diamond 2, and he has an energy attack for both his melee and his ranged attack. Item wise, he has a gun or any sort of crit weapon, and you can also equip him with a block and a block booster, bringing his total block amount up to 35% at legendary level. His active ability is called Defend the Divine Work. It is pretty simple. It repairs himself and all friendly adjacent allied units 6,000 health. We then have a look at how that factors into his passive ability, which is called Galvanic Field. Galvanic Field says that whenever Actus repairs another unit, that unit immediately attacks at 100% of its damage, dealing a maximum of 6,000 damage per hit. And crucially, this is what separates Actus from other healers and other mechanics. Actus can repair other friendly units even if they are at full health, which lets him trigger his passive on full health units. The other thing to point out here is that Actus only triggers his passive on repairing another unit. He cannot heal himself and then deal damage. In this clip we can see how Actus interacts with mechanical units. By using his active ability, he gives both the drone as well as Revas an additional attack. You can see that despite being surrounded by 3 non-mechanical units, aun'shi, Shouzo and Darkstrider, those characters do not take an extra turn or take an extra action. We'll quickly cycle through the Eldari's turn and come back to the Tau so that we can demonstrate Actus's passive ability in action. The key thing to point out here is that this ability, and indeed Actus, can repair units even if they are at full health, which is something that we haven't been able to see on other characters with healing abilities. So here we go over to the drone that's fully healed, and by using the repair action, the drone takes a further attack. This is a clip where we can have a look at how Actus's repair interacts with other characters with unique passives like Pestilin. As a reminder, Scarab swarms have the swarm trait, so ordinarily it doesn't matter really how much damage you do to them, they need to be hit 5 times in order to be fully killed. However, if we have a look at Pestilin's passive ability, it adds a blast damage onto any ranged attacks, and that blast damage can work through multiple members of a swarm team. So now that Pestilin is adjacent to the drone, and now that Actus is also adjacent to the drone, we're going to see the interaction, or the combination rather, of those two characters when the repair is used on Shouzo's drone. So here we see the additional first hit, and then the subsequent multiple hits through the blast action. The question for this clip was how Actus's repair ability interacts with characters who have unique traits associated with their attack. Snapper has the Daka trait that gives him bonus hits at a certain range. Here we can see that when Actus repairs Snapper still maintains that additional Daka trait. This clip again is a further extension of the same concept, where Gulgorts has a passive that gives him bonus hits whenever he attacks an enemy in melee. We'll see that in action for his normal attack, and when Actus does his repair action, Gulgorts will again take advantage of his bonus hit through his passive ability. This final clip is a smaller sort of edge case clip where we're having a look at how Pestilin interacts with the passive ability once more. You'll see on the screen here that the sniper drone on the top only has 1 damage, and the Tyrant Guard has loads of stats up in the top right. When we put Pestilin adjacent to the drone, then all of a sudden the drone gets a bonus, Blight Racks, an extra 3000 damage on ranged attacks. However, Actus's passive seems to suggest that the damage should cap out at about 108 per hit. So let's see how all this factors together when the drone is repaired and attacks the Tyrant Guard. The basic attack of the drone does 28, however it does a bonus 1100 damage, which it's benefiting from courtesy of Pestilin. Now whether or not that remains in the game longer term is unclear, as sometimes things can change between the test build and gameplay release. However, it seems an odd interaction and does certainly increase the value of characters like Pestilin. On this screen you can see the character infographic for Actus. The numbers in red represent his abilities at Diamond 2 and scale to level 50. On the top right you can see that his melee and ranged attack are both 2-hit actions. He has a crit item, and block booster, bringing him up to 35% total block at legendary tier. His stats on the bottom right are courtesy of Tawin and the work that he does in keeping those centiles updated. Actus's stats are on the mediocre side. He scores in the 76th centile for health and 51st centile for armor. His damage stats are much less impressive. Here we can take a quick segue and look at how healing is done and calculated, in order to compare how well Actus heals. Healing in this game is a measure of a unit's damage stat multiplied by the number of hits that it does. On this slide we can see that Actus is actually the weakest of the mechanics currently available to us. However, he does have means of healing through his active ability that increases his overall healing power compared to characters like Gibbascraps. A quick note on this topic. Because healers look at a character's damage stat, this is something that can be buffed by passives like Calgar and Aethana, or in modes like Tournament Arena when you can sometimes pick up boosts to your damage stat with the appropriate power-up. In terms of overall usefulness, I think that Actus is going to shine in legendary release events because of his strong healing potential and the fact that the mechanical trait requirement is a popular one that is thrown at us. Additionally, what I like about his repair is that it also allows the unit to make an attack, which is something that is unique and allows you to simultaneously sustain your team as well as make progress on the oncoming waves of enemies. As Tawin says, the best offense is defense, although I'm pretty sure I've heard that saying the other way around too. That's all I've got for today. If this video was useful for you, I'd love if you could consider entering my referral code on screen. It gets you 100 Blackstone and also supports me in the work that I do. It is single use though, so choose who you support carefully. Finally, I'm part of the Eye of Terror cluster, and we're looking for a couple of recruits for the end of this raid season. We're a pretty analytical and successful group of players, with almost everyone in the top 25. Drop by our server via a link in the video description if you're interested in coming by. Bye for now.
Doo-doo-dee. It's Nandi!